it has heart. If it doesn't have something like that, I don't care about the movie that much. And so I saw the heart in that and made it the spinal, like the emotional spine of it. Then of course we have every other character and has an emotional relationship, you know, all of them, Manny and the husband. But the spine was the coming back, earning back the love, I guess, of your daughter and the respect, both ways.
Love that. Okay. Lawrence from the U.S. asks, what's one thing you learned about yourself during the filming of this film? I'm going to start with Christopher, you in the back.
One thing I learned about myself is that like how strong I am and like how talented I am, because like when I first got
Your college.
I don't mean to like be like
No, it's not. He said, I'm not done. Like,
Well, we all learned that.
no, but when I like first saw all these like huge names, it was like a little scary for me, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because it truly was scary. But when I got on set and like I met them, I met everybody, and I like started to build a relationship, it just all became so easy, and like showed me that I can do this too, because I've watched every single one of them on TV as a kid, and it's just like amazing to be able to work with them. So I definitely learned that like I'm pretty strong and I'm pretty talented too. So, yeah.
Yes, you are. Alone. First alone. Anthony, what did you learn? What's one thing you learned during this movie? That you want the sequel? You want your spin-off, correct? Yeah. I thought you want. He said Anthony. Anthony. He said Anthony. I have an H in my name. You have a H? Yeah, I have an H. Yeah. Wait. I'm just sorry. I'm distracted by Anthony. What was the question? What is the question? What is the one thing you learned about yourself in this movie?
One thing I learned about myself in this movie. I mean, every time I do something, I seem to learn something about myself. I think it's not necessarily. Seriously, there is a whole other script about Rutledge, but what I realized is you know, I had to sort of carve out a little story through the movie that with Patricia and Viola that really kind of mirrored Viola's character in a lot of ways, and in doing that, that means I have to find what's the anchor of the character? Why is he doing what he's doing? And because both characters are veterans, I think they both have significant trauma. And one of the things in Rutledge Origins, what you would see is that he came back, lost his family, and the pain. You can take that if you want. And the pain of that is what was driving him into action. You know, who doesn't want to be a hero for their kids was my little mantra. And in my head, he had sons back home, and she got everything I wanted and all that. So I don't know what that means about learning for myself, but you know, every time you discover a character, you learn, you find something different when you go into the emotional depth.
Sounds like you've already cast this movie. I hear you.
I kind of have.
I figured as much. This question is for Viola. It's from the UK, Antonia, and she wants to know what drew you to the script and made you want to be a part of this film.
You know what? What drew me to it is Air Force One, Salt, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. I mean, I could keep going on and on. It's, you know what? I always use my daughter as a blueprint for this. I have a teenager too. But I tell this story ad nauseum when I would make up stories for her at night. She loved them. And whenever I started, I would start and she would, this is when she was still sucking her baba. She'd take the baba out of her mouth and go, Mama, put me in the story. Put me in, I want to be in the story. And that's how I feel. I want to be in these stories that I see. And, you know, listen, and that's it. And when I read G20, I saw a story. I remember telling the Logan brothers, because they had written it, this was in 2015, and I was like, you want me in this? This is a Sigourney Weaver role. This is an Angelina Jolie role. You know, we think of all these people who can do. You've been trained to think of almost removing yourself from the equation. And this was one of those stories I said, I've always seen myself in this story too. And so that's why I did it. It was a badass action movie, you know?
And I say thank God for Andrew Lazar.
Yes.
He had the vision.
And Andrew was at that meeting too.
Well, it's like you see these women that like love their country and do all this stuff for service. And I love this idea of putting this mama bear into this extraordinary circumstance with the most powerful people in the world. And it just seemed like this is a great, I love Die Hard. Like, I love Die Hard, I love Salt, I love all these movies. And it's like, I want to see someone of Viola's age. You know, it literally hasn't been since Liam Neeson and Taken that an actor has really fit into the shoes of doing these kind of action movies. So outside of the fact that she's a female and she's black, she's also close to my age. And it's cool to see somebody kicking ass and having this amazing career of this amazing dramas and then going to do something that clearly she's really born to do.
Mm-hmm. Does this mean we'll see you in more action movies?
You know, I always say that, and then I get to the set, and I'm like, I'm tired.
We promise there is a sequel to this movie. We promise Viola should be in the Oval Office most of the time.
By the way, I want to ask you about the beast real quick, Patricia. The beast that was driven in there. Tell me the story behind that.
Okay, so the crazy thing, how do you get the beast? You can't build the beast. So it was really challenging for months trying to figure it out. And then there was this huge discovery, which is that Tyler Perry owns a beast. In fact, he owns two beasts. And he knew that it was Viola, and he lent them to us. Well, rented them to us. So we put them in a ship, and we shipped them on a ship to South Africa. And we were waiting for months, like
it was one of the most stressful
things. And they arrived all like wrapped up in saran wrap or something, because they were very delicate, very delicate.
And it's a bad ride, y'all.
It's really
Yes.
And then you can't destroy the beast, but the script says the beast is hit by a missile. And then how do you do that, right? So they were very delicate. They're almost made of like cardboard. But they are huge and beautiful. And so, you know, we did part, you know, practical, and then we did a little bit of VFX as it actually flies. We didn't do that.
Okay, so everything's cool with Tyler, right? He's not mad at y'all. He's not like, where's my car?
We didn't wreck.
And I love that y'all were really, really proud of it too, because that was actually the first scene that I shot, was us driving into the hotel. And I probably heard like 50, 11 times, like, you know this is Tyler Perry, sir. They're like, you know this is Tyler Perry. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So shout out to him.
All right, well, this one is, I guess, for everybody, but maybe the producers will answer this one. It's Gabby in Spain, and she asks, what is more scary, a G20 meeting or a meeting with Hollywood producers? Ooh. Anthony, I know you got an answer for that.
I have an answer for that.
Okay, go.
Producers!
I know what your answer is, Patricia. As our producers sit behind us.
You know, I'm a producer too.
Yeah, and sit next to us. There is, that's right, it's Juvie at the end. The last thing you see is your logo.
Yeah. All right.
Just a reminder to everybody.
That's right.
Actually, I'll say this. My meeting with the producers were the best. Because Viola specifically asked me to be a part of this.
Right.
And I remember having a meeting with Patricia. We were having lunch, and she was like, Anthony, I've never cast a movie like this before. I was like, well, what do you mean, Patricia? She said, I've never been told by the lead actress and producer that this is who you have to hire as my husband. And I was like, wow.
Wow, that meant a lot to me. So you talk about some of the hardest things that, the most difficult things that you have to do, or we had to do. Mine was to show up and show up in the right way, because Viola specifically asked for me, and then she forced me to call her EGOT the entire time that we were on set. I could never say Miss Davis Viola. She's like, no, motherfucker, EGOT. Yes, ma'am. I'm here because of you, EGOT. I'm going to say it was easy. The most difficult thing I would have to say with meeting would be with some G20 leaders who all have different things and attitudes. But my meeting with this producer next to me and the producers behind me was the best that I've had in this business to this point.
All right, now.
It's true. Viola chose her husband, and it was Anthony, and I'm very, very happy that she did. I remember my first Zoom with my producers when Viola suddenly pops into the Zoom, and I see her face and I hear her voice, and it's like the voice of God.
Oh,
it is so profound. I was very stressed, but then we get to know you, and you're such a wonderful human being, and it makes it very, very easy to work with you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, this one is, we're just going to go down the road. Everybody answer it, because this comes from Stefan in the UK.